one last question about your boys.
Yeah.
Tell us one of your favorite stories about your boys.
Okay, so probably the favorite story, and I'm not getting any #1 Dad of the Year awards for this. Okay, I'm going to make that clear right now. I'm not saying you should do this. I'm not saying I was right for this, but and so Garrett's always been bigger. Well, when they're kids, it wasn't much different. So they would get to being brothers, and it would always start playfully, but then they'd get upset. And Garrett was always stronger than Nicholas. It's just. And so one time they were wrestling, getting after it, and Nicholas started getting upset. His brother's beating him. And I said, well, Nicholas, and this is all I said to the kid, I promise you. I said, Nicholas, quit trying to fight him at his game. He's stronger than you.
Sure.
So if you continue to try to fight him with his strength, you're going to lose. He goes, well, what else am I going to do? I said, think of another way to get him that doesn't include strength. I was like, I don't know. You can do all sorts of stuff, And Nicholas, out of my two boys, Nicholas has always been the most mentally devious. He comes up, he schemes, he'll figure stuff out. He's problem solver. I love that. Where the scenario is, we're sitting in the living room, I'm on this couch, Garrett's on this couch, Nicholas disappears. This is after that conversation.
Sure.
About 10 minutes later, I hear, hey, Dad. And I'm like, what? He's like, tell Garrett to come here. And I'm thinking, what? So I look around and the door's behind me, and all I see is the door cracked about just a little crack like this. And Nicholas's little beady face going, tell Garrett to come here. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I look up, I'm like, I'll be dang. This kid set a booby trap for his brother. And he had propped this big old plastic like Tonka toy truck.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
On top of the door, but balanced it just perfectly. I'm thinking, how did you even get up there? So I'm looking, and he had made this step stool on top of his bed to get up there. I'm like, I'm pretty impressed right now.
Right.
And I was like, I just told that kid not to fight his brother at his game. He found another way.
Sure.
I was like, I'm kind of impressed. And I really kind of want to
see where this is going.
And, like the normal parent would be like, no, we're not doing that. Since when have I been normal?
Right. And well, the dad in you.
And listen, mom's not around.
Right.
Yeah. So when mom's away, dad's going to play.
Right. So, exactly.
Anyhow, so I get Garrett's attention. And I said, hey, Nicholas wants your attention, And so Garrett looks over there, and Nicholas starts doing all this, taunting. And Garrett kept going, watching TV, and I'm kind of like, oh, And so I looked at Garrett and said, did you see him? He's taunting you. He said, yeah, but I can't go hit him. I was like, if you go wrestle him, you're not going to get in trouble. He said, really? He said, you're not going to get in trouble. Go play. He said, okay, man, that's all he needed was Dad's authorization. He gets up and bolts the door, and man, Garrett going in there with all Dad's authority, he just boom, blasts that door open. And Nicholas sits on coming. So Nico steps back. He blasts that door open. I'm telling you, I couldn't have planned it better. That truck comes straight down and around on top of Garrett's head. Bounced off his head. Garrett goes to the floor. He goes, ooh, whining. He wasn't really hurt. Right. Nicholas, no, I'll never forget this part. I was laughing. I was crying laughing. Nicholas runs, jumps over Garrett, runs out the living room, down the hall, into my bedroom, slams the door, and locks it.
Of course.
And I'm like, smart move, because he's not going to be happy.
Right.
So sure enough, Garrett gets up, he hollered, and I said, he went that way. And Garrett goes there, and he's trying to get that door open, and I'm losing it, laughing.
Sure.
I'm just cracking up watching this, and so it was crazy good times, those two boys were raised initially just with dad influence, right? When I married Tab, the boys were, I think, 7 and 5, so they're still pretty young.
Sure.
They're young enough that Tabitha was carrying Nico around on her hip.
Nice.
And so, that became mom, sure. and to this day, that's mom. And
that's awesome.
It is awesome. She's a huge blessing. But before that influence, it was touch and go for us. But that was one of my favorite stories, followed on by shortly after I met Tab. And then that whole merging was pretty awesome too.
Cool. Well, thank you, brother.
Hey, no problem. I appreciate you having me.
I love it. I was sitting down and talking with you. You got some awesome stories, and you've done some amazing things. And I can't wait to see where your company goes next, and absolutely. The growth that takes place, and part in your life and in your boy's life. And so, thank you. Thank you for joining us, everybody. And we'll see you guys soon.